Hello, welcome to Handmade by Julia Quinn. This afternoon I'm coming on to share with you this lovely card featuring the Seaside Bay stamp set. This was a card we had at our recent class this week, and it was a favourite card of everybody, and it's a very simple card, but I really love it and love how it turned out, and I just thought I'd share it with you as I'm putting together my kit of cards. So here's the bits and pieces. I'll just make sure I've got everything in there. All right, this card is a Z fold, so I'll just put my blends over there. So it's your normal basic card, but then folded back again on the front to create a Z fold. Okay, so that's super easy to do. Create your Z fold like that. There you go. I've got a spare piece for stamping, and then this is the designer series paper, this one from the By the Bay designer series paper. The designer series paper is 6 inches, so I've basically just chopped one piece off, 5 centimeters there, that will fit in there, and then another piece off there to fit into my card, and then I've got my extra piece here. But before I pop them in my card, I'm going to stamp my birds. I better just get my stamps out. So I've got my mama bird here, pop her on a block, and then my row of little birds here, and then I'll choose this time I might do Heartfelt Sympathy. So that's all the stamps I need for this one. Okay, Heartfelt Sympathy. Right, and now I'll just get my piercing mat so that I can stamp easily on that. But what I'm going to do is actually stamp my birds onto my designer series paper as well as on my scrap paper, so that you get the feature of the legs, but also you'll see when I stamp, you'll see what I mean. So when I stamp these birds down here on this paper, their details are sort of not as clear because it's been stamped on the designer series paper. So I'll just stamp those dudes there, okay? And also I'll just clean my stamp. Oh no, I need to stamp a couple of birds here on the center one while I'm doing that. 2 there. There we go. And then on this one I'll stamp the mama bird or the big bird and just stamp that like that. There we go. All right, I'll put my ink away for a second and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So, oh, I forgot to stamp the extra bird. Oops. Pop you over there. There's my spare piece. Do her there. I'm going to add a little bit of colour to my birds, so I'll add a little bit of, I think, bit of light Pool Party just to their wings and body, just to give them a bit of interest, and a little bit onto the wing of this one. Okay, and maybe a tiny little shadow with a little bit of light crumb cake, a little bit around the head there, a little bit there on the belly. There we go, that's enough colour. But when I put this together, I can now stick these onto my card. I'll just move you out of the way. Stick these onto my card. I'm having fun trying to explain this to you, but I think once you see what I'm going to do, you'll work it out. You'll see what I mean and the difference in. Okie dokie. Pop you in there. And then this one on the front. There we are. And then this one here in the middle is for my greeting panel. I might, because I'm making this into a sympathy card this time, I might add my favourite greeting for sympathy card from Quiet Meadow, which says, heartfelt love and caring thoughts are with you. So I'll just pop that onto my piece here. There we go, heartfelt love and caring thoughts are with you. So that's done. And I can also, while I'm stamping, do my greeting here, heartfelt sympathy just there. And that'll be ready to add to my card as soon as I've finished doing all the other things. So I can stamp this one, adhere this one inside my card here. There we go. Pop that there inside my card. All right, so there it is without the extra piece. But then when I go along and cut, I'm cutting very close to the edge. I'm going to chop off the legs because they're too hard to cut out, and go right around the body there. You can actually go inside the line a little bit as well, because you've already got your stamped image on there, which will, I'm chopping off the beak as well, and do the back of the body there, and tail. All right, and then add my little bit of adhesion to the back of my bird. It is, when you're doing this with these three little birds, it is a good idea to do them as you go, or place them on top of your bird so you know which body belongs to which bird. There you go. See the difference between the white background, the one that you've stamped and cut out. It just makes such a difference to how the actual bird looks. So once again, cutting the next one, cut off the beak, cut off the feet. Poor bird looks a bit funny without the beak and feet, doesn't he? She, he, it. I've seen birds looking just like this at the beach near where my mum lives at Elliot Heads, near Bundaberg in Queensland. There we go. There's the second one, and then the last one. And it's so much easier when you have the stamped birds already stamped onto the designer series paper, because the leg's already there, it's got your detail, and you, as when you're fussy cutting, it's not too difficult to cut out the rest of the bird. Trim you, and on the bottom of the tail, put a little bit of adhesion on the back of that one there. There we go. There we are. And then the mama bird. And I'll cut off her legs as well, but I won't cut off her beak because it's, actually I do have it stamped on that one, but on this one I didn't have the beak stamped on. So I did really need to have the beak cut out. So theoretically I could cut the beak out of this one, but I'll leave it on. I think it will look better with the beak attached. But I don't have to do the legs because the legs are too hard to do very, very fine fussy cutting. I actually have seen people who do achieve that level of incredible skill, but I figure it's just much easier to stamp your image underneath on the designer series paper, and then you don't need to have it. Here we go, and I'll put some seal on her and make sure I line that up perfectly. There we are. There, doesn't that look great? And then the last thing, actually what I did do with these other ones is I just added a bit of shadow with a bit of balmy blue Stampin' Blend. It sort of blends into the paper, and then I can add a little bit here with these ones, a little bit here. There we go. And the last thing to do is using my double punch, which is a fantastic resource, is punch out my heartfelt sympathy. And I've got an extra one for next time, and pop that onto the front of my card. Now, because I'm overlapping that, it's really important I only put adhesion underneath that half. So the way I do that is to just flip it over so that it reminds me to only put the seal on this side, and then there we go. There is my heartfelt sympathy little card with the cute little birds that just show up so beautifully on the paper after being cut out. Did I give these a bit of colour? I don't think I did. Give them a bit of colour so that they coordinate with the others. I hope you enjoyed that, and you'll give that a go too. It's called a paper piecing technique. So stamping on designer series paper and then piecing your paper together with pieces to highlight the imagery. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye bye now.